Book your driving lesson now at dla-driving.co.uk. Sponsored by DLA Driving School.
Hello and welcome to Owen the Town. I'm Luke Gregory and here's what's coming up today. Luton make it 3 wins in a row and climb into the Championship top 6. And what a hard-fought win it was. 1-0 over Derby, and today me and Batara will be discussing that game in a little bit more detail. And honestly, what a week it's been for Danny Hylton. 2 goals in 2 games, and let's be honest, has fired us to 6 massive points, Let's talk about Danny Hylton today. Has he proved the doubters wrong? Does he deserve to start against Chelsea? Does he get to deserve a starting place against Middlesbrough? We'll be discussing that today. And also a few of your Instagram questions, and we'll look ahead to that Chelsea game because there's a big one for us. So, big week. And I'm very excited just about everything to do with football right now. It's brilliant, isn't it? Batara's with me today. Dave has bottled it. He's not here tonight. He's off somewhere, isn't he, Batara? How are you, mate? Oh, you're on mic 3. There you go.
There we go. You usually mate me, for not speaking up enough, but there we go. You don't turn my mic up. But no, I'm good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, Dave's gutted he's not here today, isn't he? He was going to me earlier, look, I might be back at like 10:30. I'm like, I doubt it.
In all fairness, we have to give him 25 minutes, but we've decided to start. Dave, if you're listening, obviously you'll be listening back. Listening. Then, sorry, but no one really cares.
Well, let's talk about the weekend. What a win it was. Made it 3 wins in a week. And we had that brilliant win over Stoke midweek. And you come into this game on Saturday and you're thinking, all right, Derby, yeah, they're in the bottom 3. Yeah, they've had 21 points deducted. It's going to be a tough game. But we did kind of go into that maybe expecting to win as fans.
Well, would you not expect to win if you'd been fighting for the playoff spot? All right, albeit with a lot of games to go, but you want to end up in the season. Sorry, fucking hell, we'll start again. If you end up the season in that 6th position, then you want to be winning those kind of games. And with all due respect to Derby County, they have been a very good side this season. And you've got to take all the positives you can from that. Yeah, they've been pretty good, haven't they? Especially under Rooney, they've definitely looked like they could potentially be getting out of trouble. But I think their last few results haven't gone their way. So he's looking tough again for them. But I felt like we ground out a win again, and we weren't at our best like we weren't against Barnsley the other week, but all importantly, we got that one big chance and we took it. Which, like you say, if you keep winning though, win it ugly, win it however you want to do it, just win the game. Just keep winning. Let's get into some 3-word reviews then before we discuss the game in a little bit more detail. Barney says 9-point week. Neville, hello Premier League. Dave says, is it happening? Ian, grinding out results. Connor says, subs win games. Lee, credit to NJ. Colin says team spirit wins. Mark, what a squad. Martin says little old Luton, and Mark and many others said super Danny Hylton. Loads of good 3-word reviews there, isn't it? But I guess like Ian says there, grinding out results, we just touched on that, and it's important in any league you're in. If you're not playing well, it's a sign of a good team. Everyone always says is if you can grind out a result when you're not playing well, it means you're doing something right. Well, of course. I mean, winning's winning at the end of the day. It doesn't matter if you have like 20% of the ball the whole game, have 3 shots and you score 2 goals and win the game 2-1, compared to a team that have had 18 shots and how much possession. But it doesn't matter. But the thing is for me on here, right, is what a squad that Mark says. What a squad we have, in all fairness. I'll tell you what, every single week, we've always said it, the team changes due to injury, suspension, whatever else. It don't matter. But the fact that these guys come in and they do a job. We sometimes have players come back from sort of like, 5, 6, 7 weeks out with an injury, come back, do a job. Yeah. They're quality, man. They are all quality players. And there's not a single player in there that I look at and go, oh, fuck me, why is he playing? Did you see Rooney's comments the other day after the game? About them not being great individuals? Yeah. He was a fucking idiot, isn't he? Let's face it. All right, all-time England goal scorer or whatever, but, mate, I don't know why he's saying that. Maybe he's just a bit pissed. I don't know. I did read comments online and they're saying, like, if anyone should know
that games aren't won by individuals anyway. It should be a player like Wayne Rooney who's been in Man United squads that, let's be honest, you look at them now and you go, how they won so many trophies with the players. It's because they were a squad.
And the thing is, I think if we was picking those kind of players as well, I think that'd be disrespectful as well from us. I'd say like if we was going to pinpoint sort of like your John O'Shea's or your Wes Browns, them kind of people that he won the league with. But look, I mean, I don't understand why he said that, and what's the point in what he's saying. But you know, he's obviously a bit angry, isn't he? So let's face it, he's obviously he's a Scouser, so I understand it. But at the same time, I don't think it's fair that he said that, you know, they're not great individuals, because they are great individuals. Because a great individual can do a job in a team. They can also do a job by themselves and win games by themselves. And when we're not at our best, all right, it's not always a team effort. Sometimes there's a couple of players in there, moments of brilliances that, you know, keep us in it. So
yeah. And let's be honest,
it's both ways.
It's like Colin says here in 3-word review, he says, team spirit wins. And if you're going to offer me a team of individuals and be in their position, not like, obviously Derby in their position with point deductions, but even without their point deduction, they're still 17th, 18th position. Yeah. And you think, all right, well, I'd rather have the team we have. I'd rather have the players. I'd rather Gay Boss Show, who at the moment I'm looking at going, what a brilliant player he is going to be. I'd rather have Elijah and Alan Campbell and James Bree and Amari Bell and players like that, because, yeah, they're not brilliant individuals yet, but these players are... But
aren't they?
Well, I think they could walk into Derby's team.
100% they could walk into Derby's team, mate. They're much better than... I mean, like you say, nothing's won on paper, right? But if you want, he wants to compare on paper and whatever else, our 11 versus their 11, I'll smash the shit out of theirs, realistically. But I think people look at, you know, the... What's the word? The... what do you call it? The...
Where are you going with that one, mate?
No, it's not the players, for example, like looking at certain individuals because they cost so much money or whatever.
Well, that's what I kind of meant. I think I kind of worded what I said wrong now. I said they weren't great. I think what I meant is, like you said, we haven't gone out and spent £5 million on one of our players like they did with Tom Lawrence, and I think their fullbacks cost quite a bit of money. But
this is what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, if people go out there, right, and you see on Sky Sports News that, well, a lot of these armchair fans will look at Sky Sports News and go, oh, hang on a minute, so-and-so have signed someone in the Championship for £7 or £8 million. Oh, they must be a good player.
Yeah, exactly.
And all of a sudden they're looking at those kind of players and going, oh, shit, you know, they're not doing what they're doing. These are great players. Why are they great players? Because they're worth £12, £15 million. We've got players worth 300k. They're better than some players that work in that league that are worth £8 million.
I think that's
supposedly
in my head where I was trying to go with that, and I kind of misworded it.
And that's where I was trying to go as well, when I got a bit of a brain block. And I was trying
glad we agreed.
There we go anyway.
Let's talk about the game then. There was one change from midweek with Hylton on the bench this time and Lansbury coming in. And let's be honest, Hylton putting a real shift in midweek. And I can't remember how many years ago you said on the podcast you'd like to see Danny Hylton as a number 10, but you definitely saw it.
I'm so happy you said that, in fairness.
Because you mentioned it ages ago.
I've been stewing that one all week, sitting there going, I'm going to fucking crack it out there. Number 10.
Yeah.
Mate, twice in 1 week, and guess what? 2 goals. Am I still an idiot? Yes, I am. But I'll take credit for this, in all fairness.
It's Robert Snodgrass, what a signing, by the way. He was on the bench. We signed him on Friday. Just a quick word on signing Robert Snodgrass, because I told my girlfriend and she kind of took the piss and said that he's too old and he's past it now. But let's be honest. I said to her, I was like, look, I've been supporting Luton for so long that back in the conference days, we'd sign a player and it'd be some nobody from like Braintree or something. And I said, just to be signing a player,
Andy Parry,
the name of like Robert Snodgrass, it's just exciting. It's huge for our football club and just shows how far we've come, from no disrespect to Andy Parry. Mm-hmm. And if Andy Parry's somehow listening to this, sorry, this isn't about you.
No, in all fairness, I used to like Andy Parry, in all fairness.
Yeah, but like how far we've come from signing Gateshead striker John Shaw or Andre Bucco back in the day, to Paul Carden, to signing Robert Snodgrass, who was one of Villa's best players, one of West Ham's best players. You know, it's levels, isn't it? And it just shows how far we've come.
And in all fairness, it weren't so long ago that he was playing for West Ham and putting a shift in the Premier League, and playing for West Brom, I think, in the Premier League as well. You know, it's still a player that played Premier League football up until last season, the season before. So, you know, people could take the piss all they'd like, but...
Yeah, Rambo.
Yeah, if you're listening, Amber, I know you will be. What are you talking about?
No, but it's
true.
good, though, for the club to have a player like this quality to come in a situation where potentially we're going to need experience, and he's definitely got that. And like Nathan Jones has said, maybe just a little bit more quality to help us potentially get into the Blend playoffs, the top 6.
Look, in all fairness as well, in and around the club as well, he seems like a good character as well. We all know this. And we saw it with Cameron Jerome as well. Obviously, he took his time to get into it. I mean, we're Snodgrass. We know what he's about. Great at dead balls. Very intelligent player. All right, he's 34 years of age now. Might not be the best, as in like physical ability or agility and whatever else and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, that doesn't matter. But if we've got experience heading the team, and he still comes up with a couple of assists here and there, and maybe a couple of goals that pushes us on with, gets us maybe even if it gains us like 5-6 points at the end of the season.
Yep.
Those 5-6 points could be crucial
vital
to us. Yeah,
could be vital.
Could be massive.
We got so much to carry on talking about because we were talking off air about how many potentially points wise we're going to need to get in the playoffs, and let's just carry on talking about the game first. To be honest, not a lot even happened in the game. It was a pretty poor game, a pretty dull game to watch, especially in that first half. Apart from Derby having that open goal in the first few minutes, nothing really happened.
You say open goal. It was
the
a chance,
pullback.
It wasn't a massive chance though. It was it was quite behind, and there's people on the line. Look, I was never fearing personally, but a lot of people might. But look, it's one of those ones. But look, we create more chances than what they created probably in the last 3 games. In all fairness.
Yeah.
Without being horrible or disrespectful, but Wayne Rooney would say, we got better players and whatever else. Fuck you, Wayne Rooney. we haven't created fuck all, we should create more than you. So go fuck yourself.
Lovely.
No, look, it's true though, isn't it?
It is true. Into the second half, Steer pulled off a brilliant save to keep the scores level. It was a shot from Bird. It was tipped onto the crossbar. And this all came from, I think it was a set piece from Derby, and Steer comes out, gets a brilliant punch to it. He gets quite a bit of distance to it, and he's had to backtrack to tip it onto the crossbar, but it was a brilliant save. And that's, I guess, moments where we need our goalkeeper to step up and keep us in the game.
Yeah, and like we had this conversation last week about Jed Steer, and about the whole James Shea saga as well. Why is he at the team? But look, I'll be honest, I can't take it back a little bit. I mean, I'm a massive fan of James Shea. I mean, we all are at the football club. But I tell you what, Jed Steer, mate, he does look like a good goalkeeper. He looks very, comfortable with his hands. He's not the tallest of blokes, as we all know. But Jesus Christ, he controls what's around him.
Should we talk about the goal? Cameron Jerome came on for Cornick. Hylton was on at this point already for Lansbury, went off injured. And these two combine, and both of them on the score sheet in midweek against Stoke, and then they come up with another massive opportunity in the game. Jerome's little knockdown. Hylton with the composure to cut back onto his right foot, and then the accuracy to put it in the bottom corner. And look, let's be honest, I think there's a lot of Luton fans out there who are listening to this right now and can just sit there and agree and hold up their hand and go, all right, I was wrong about Danny Hylton. And not in a way of being horrible, but a lot of Luton fans were going, if we want to progress, is Danny Hylton the man to help take us forward? And let's be honest, in the last week, the answer to that is clearly yes. So I'd admit, I'd put my hands up and go, I was wrong.
I'm sitting with a smoke look at my face.
Yeah.
It's great, isn't it? But mate, look, no one knew that he would score 2 goals in a week, obviously, but I think we need to give Hylton more credit what he's due. I think maybe people thought he's past it, he had a few injuries, he was out for a lot of the time, but mate, the guy is still clever. He has a footballing brain, a real footballing brain. Some of these players out there, they rely on their bodies too much. For example, pace and your whatever else anyway. But Danny Hylton don't rely on that. He relies on his brain. And I tell you what, it's just good to see him score at the Kenilworth again. It really is.
Well, it's been 3 years.
Mate, do you know what? It's almost
closer to the mic, please.
Yeah, there we go. Shush. Yeah, get out. But it's almost like when he scored, it wasn't the fact that we were winning the game. Well, maybe it was, but that might be absolute bollocks on my behalf. But it was the fact that Danny Hylton scored it.
Yeah.
That was more important. And I said to you earlier, didn't I wanted to milk it a little bit more.
Yeah.
I kept saying to you, milk it, Danny, just milk it a bit more. Especially after the game. I mean, he was a bit shy to come forward a little bit, wasn't he? I think it was Naismith that had to push him a little bit to go forward and say, have a little go with the fans. But, mate, honestly, like Danny Hylton, there was talks about him going to League 2 and League 1. Fuck is that about? This is Danny Hylton, mate. He's good enough to be at Luton Town and he's doing it. He's doing the job.
And it was a brilliant finish as well. And if you look at the goal back, the way he does cut onto his right foot, and then maybe any other player in that position goes, all right, I've got the ball, I've got a chance to shoot, and they just lash at it or smash it. But the composure, just to kind of like roll it into that bottom left corner, away from the keeper, away from the defender, was just brilliant. And it's like you said, it's in that situation where you don't have to be the quickest player or the strongest player, just the intelligence to get it back onto that right foot and just put it in that bottom corner was brilliant. And midweek against Stoke, you could say the same thing, with the intelligence to get in front of the defender on that front post to knock it in.
That finish though, midweek, can we just talk about that for a second? That finish midweek,
beautiful, wasn't it?
Phenomenal. I'll tell you what, if a player scores that, in the Premier League level, they go, oh wow, what a bit of movement, what a finish. That needs some respect, some serious respect. Because that's almost like Danny Hylton. He would do that at League 1 level, but he wouldn't have to move that quick and whatever else. But
I tell you what,
it's great. It's just great.
We'll carry on talking about Danny Hylton in a minute because he is our player focus today. We did have a couple more chances to score a few more goals. Bree was found by Onyedinma on the right-hand side. His shot was kind of straight at the keeper. Also, I think Jerome had a header from a corner. And apart from that, Derby didn't really like scoring. I sat with Dave and he was going, Derby are going to score. I was like, no, we're fine. We are so fine. Apart from at the end where Hylton, instead of playing the ball left to Onyedinma, kind of got tackled. He passed it back to Bell. It was like intercepted, and that's how they got their last-minute corner.
Oh, yes, yeah.
And I was a bit like, okay, I'm a little bit scared because their keeper came up. But as soon as we cleared that, I was like, no, we're fine. We are fine. And the full-time whistle went, our third win in a row, climbed up to 6th place in the table. Producer Jacobs reeled off some stats here on the running order. Unbeaten in 8 home league games. Jerome has 2 goals and 2 assists in his last 3. That was Hylton's first goal at Kenilworth Road since the 4-0 win against Doncaster back in 2019. That's thanks to Mike Simmons, LTFC News on Twitter. And the last time Luton registered 3 wins in a row in the second tier was back in the 1995-96 campaign, where I would have been 1 year old. 1 year old. And that's from Mike as well on socials. Thanks, Mike. So it's a big milestone, mate. We're making history as we're going along. I love it. And I'll tell you what's really interesting, and I spoke about you. I spoke to, when you just feel like you want to start the podcast all over again. That's what I'm feeling right now.
No, that's me most of the time, in all fairness. So.
We'll carry on. And I'll try and say that again. I was chatting to someone at work today who works in the analyst department, and he's got mates who work at clubs in the Championship, Sheffield United and Middlesbrough. And basically, he said to me today, he was chatting to one of his mates who work at another Championship club. Apparently, they have said Luton Town in the Championship are the best team out of possession that he's seen. And when he told me that, I got a little bit excited because I respect these guys. They know what they're talking about when it comes to analysis and football and stuff. So for them to say that Luton are the best team in the Championship out of possession.
But are you surprised though? Are you surprised at that stat?
A little. I'd say a little, but not because I doubt us, but in my head it's just a bit surreal that maybe someone from another club looks at Luton and go, out of every single team in that Championship, that's including Fulham and Bournemouth, and it's like we say, we haven't got the £1 million worth of players in our team. For us to be the best out of possession in the league is an unreal achievement, especially if other teams around us are thinking that.
But then also, it's, like you said, it's a great achievement, but a bigger achievement would be to put that into practice and finish in the top 6, like you say. So realistically, we can have these stats and people can look at us and do that, but it probably means nothing unless we do something with it.
Yeah, 100%.
But no, like you say, it's unreal that that's what people are looking at. And I'll be honest, I'm not really surprised at that either. I mean, I look at us all the time and I think how well drilled we are, and we've got players in that team that press the crap out of,
Well, is that also, though, why potentially, if we're so good off the ball and out of possession, why we are having so many clean sheets this season, and it is grinding out these 1-0 wins because of our work off the ball. And out of possession.
I think you have to look at the players as well. I mean, I think Jones has got a thing in place there as well. Like I said, obviously it's hard work, and even your attacking players that we've got in the squad, for example, like even with Clark's playing, for example, like him, Clark works his absolute nuts off, doesn't he? I mean, you got Campbell. Campbell's now starting to do it forward and backwards. Pelly, we all know what Pelly's about anyway. Pelly's Pelly. But, I mean, even these new players that he's brought into the club as well, or, you know, the team that's evolved from sort of the last few years. I mean, even your strikers, they all work hard, don't they? I mean, It's ridiculous now. I mean, we're seeing something different to even Cornick from the last 2 years. I mean, Adi Bio's come in, does a great job, but also, like, presses the front, sort of like the back three or the back four from the position. It's just great to see, isn't it? Realistically, it is. And that's what we want. We want a team. Like, I'm sure Dave would sit here now and go, it's a team that we want to be proud of. We're
Definitely,
proud of we're very proud of a team.
Definitely.
That does this. It's not like we sit there like West Brom tonight and watch them, and they were absolutely useless, weren't they? And we're West Brom, we got fucking...
Nathan Jones says it all the time, though. He goes,
good.
And he says, especially like with Alan Campbell's performances recently, he goes, I think Luton fans look at Alan Campbell and see themselves on the pitch, and that's given that 100% and fighting for the shirt and running everywhere. And for me, has been brilliant this calendar year. I think Alan Campbell's been phenomenal, probably one of our best players, if not our best player.
And I was, like I said, beginning of the season, we'll see the best out of Alan Campbell. You know, I was a massive fan of obviously Campbell.
It's taken him a while to get going.
No,
but
in all fairness, a little bit, but I think we've never really doubted what he did off the ball.
Yeah.
And like I say, like we like to see all of us in Alan Campbell. I mean, if you saw me, mate, in all fairness, I saw myself, I probably like a fat Mr. Blobby, like running for a kebab. Because, let's face it, I mean, I wish I could do what Alan Campbell did. I wish I could even move like him.
That would be great if you could, mate. But unfortunately, you have got the movement of Andy Carroll.
I'll tell you that as well. But yeah, in all fairness, it's, like I say, I think everyone would love to be Alan Campbell on the full pitch, but no.
Something else we spoke about before we started tonight was, and look, we are dreaming still, but being in the top six now, you kind of think, I really do want to stay there. So how many points are we going to need to stay in the top six? And we did have a look at the tables over the last 10 years. And it does seem to be like, if you can get to that 78 point mark,
77, it's going to be.
That you've got a good chance. I think there's only 1 year where you had to get 81 to get in, and that was just a season where the championship was ridiculous. You had like Newcastle and Brighton and stuff in it. But last year, I think 77 was enough, 75 was enough.
I think this season's ridiculous as well, in all fairness, quality-wise. I mean, look how tight the table was up until about... I mean, it's still quite tight, but look how tight it was up until 6 games ago. You had teams back in 16th place that were, 4 points or 5 points off 10th place or 9th place or whatever else. And then the difference between that and the playoffs was probably about 8 points. So it's not too far off, but I think nowadays it's more of a level playing field when it comes to teams and not so much the budgets, but I don't think that matters anymore.
So there's
too much quality coming through now. Teams release players too easily, or they, what I'm saying is, and we, fortunately for teams like Luton, as they would say though, people say teams like Luton, but for us, we'll take advantage of that. I mean, people were slating Amari Bell and left Blackburn. Blackburn fans are going, "Oh shit, he's this, he's that." And I'm thinking, come on, man. Do you know what I mean? Well, he's been. I think he's been very good for us. He's a bit casual sometimes, but brilliant player.
So, a question for you then: out of our remaining 13 games, how many do we need to win to stay in the top six?
You're asking me that one?
I'm asking you that one. Out of the last 13.
I just think we need to get to about between 75 and 78 points, whatever that matters out to be. So what, we're on 54, 55 at the moment?
7 wins, 6 wins? 6 wins, 3 draws?
But maybe even not even that, if we're drawing quite a bit. I think we need to get another 4 or 5 home wins. And then we'll take the points.
Well, you reel off some of the home games, and this would be interesting to hear your thoughts on this. Get us on socials, Owen the Town, and producer Jacob put up a post, and we'll see what the general reaction is to this. But the likes of home games still to come: Millwall, Reading, Preston. We've still got to play Peterborough away, Forest at home. We've still got winnable games. Still games you look at and go, we can pick up points here.
Every game's winnable though.
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily look at a Peterborough or a Millwall, for example, and especially a QPR. I wouldn't really look at those kind of games, but I'd look at just any game where we can. For example, look, let's face it, we play Stoke on Tuesday, Wednesday. Was it Wednesday night?
Wednesday, yeah.
Wednesday night, wasn't it? We play Stoke, and realistically, who really thought that we were going to get 3 points against those away from home? No one really. But in the end, we deserved it. We came away with 3 points, and we can keep sort of like breaking the whole barrier of not getting points against these teams that we've never got points off against.
Who knows exactly?
Who knows what we can do? I mean, there's teams out there that people look at and go, oh yeah, you know. I'm telling you now, people in pubs on a Saturday going, oh yeah, yeah, Luton are playing, for example, Fulham today, or playing fucking Millwall, and Luton are like 2-1, and they're clearly not going to win that.
Well, it's like I said to you as well earlier. I put up on my Instagram story the other day of the league table, which I think Jacob put up on Owen the Towns, and I had a work colleague reply saying, it's not going to happen, mate. And I was just like, why not? It's just because the name Luton Town to people, they look at it and go, oh, not a chance. But it's just like, we've got the squad, we've got the players at the moment that have got us into this position, that are on an incredible run of form in the Championship, that are only getting better, I feel. And I just think, like, why not?
And it's not
just because we're Luton Town.
It's not even a full strength team either, really.
Exactly.
Well, you say, sorry, not full strength team as such, because they're all good enough, but it's not a team that we look at and go, oh, we've got X amount of players in this position, we can swap it up here. We haven't got that. We haven't got that luxury at the moment.
You'd say we're missing Sonny Bradley at the moment, arguably one of our better centre-halves, who's, let's be honest, we've done well without him, but he's a big part of our team and a big part of our squad. And
even Clarkey as well. He's been out for the last 6-7 games or whatever. Pelly's been out for the last couple. Hopefully he'll be back soon as well. So look, let's face it.
You know, mate, we've got to hear about his Danny Hylton proving the doubters wrong. I think Luton Town keep proving them doubters wrong, and everyone will. If Luton get in the playoffs, every club in them playoffs will be going, I want Luton, and we'll be sitting there going, bring it on.
Yeah,
you come to the Kenny on a May Tuesday night for that first leg and see how you get on. Sorry, can we just all imagine how good that's going to be? Like,
we'll probably lose now.
Sun setting at like 8:30 in the evening. It's going to be like warm. You'll turn up in shirts and shorts. Half a day in the pub from midday. 2-0 home win in that first leg. Get to Wembley. 40,000 Luton fans.
Oh, dream.
It would be the dream, wouldn't it? It's actually the dream. Let's move on to talk about Danny Hylton then. So this is what some of you guys said about Danny Hylton. Has he proved the doubters wrong? Would you start him against Chelsea? James says, he's in superb form, so why not? Even the first 60 minutes, then sub him off. I doubted he'd do anything this season, and I wanted him to go and get proper football somewhere else, but blimey, he's proved me wrong. And you look at that and you think, you know, fair play. When people sit there and go, look, maybe at the start of the season I was doubting his ability or doubting if he was the right person to take us forward, to come back and go, look, I'll put my hands up, I was wrong.
Well, look, I mean, not be funny, he's not the only person that, you know, sorry, you're not the only person he's proved wrong. Because let's face it, I think probably maybe 8% of the club, 8% of the fan base were thinking Daniel was not good enough for Championship level. But look, it's just great, isn't it? It's just mad to think that Daniel was come up through the leagues with us. We all love him. You know, it could go tits up for him after this, but it's not gonna, is it?
Do you know what's still nice about our squad at the moment is that we the likes of Hylton and Pelly, we still kind of have some of that squad from, we've got a bit from the conference still in Pelly, we've got a bit from League 2 season with Hylton, and it's like, even like James Shea, we've still got bits of the last like 5, 6, 7 years, or in Pelly's case, the last 10 years, still in around the squad. And for me, I just think it makes it so much more special, the fact that we're into the Championship playoffs, Hylton's scoring the goal that's currently put us in that place. And you just think, like, it's just brilliant, isn't it? It's such a feel-good atmosphere around the club.
That's what we want.
It's a dream to think players from 5 years ago are still here and still contributing in a positive way and making the club even better. And producer Jake said to me the other day, texted me, he's like, is Danny Hylton a legend?
Oh, it's one of those ones, isn't it? We'll get into it. I mean,
should we leave that with you listening? Do you think Danny Hylton's a legend? Was producer Jacob right in asking me that question? I said, for me, not yet, but
I just hate this whole conversation about legends. I'm not gonna lie to you. fucking bums me out a little bit.
To be fair, I think he'll be one you look back up and go, what a striker he was. He was phenomenal in the years we had him.
I'll tell you what he is. He's a club favourite.
Yeah.
He's a very special piece of what we've done in the last
That's
how many years.
That's a lovely way of putting it, Bataro.
No, mate, he really is. I think when we think of Danny Hylton, I think of Danny Hylton, I just think love. Because, mate, no, just pure love, honestly, for the club. The club loves him, he loves the club, and you can see it as well.
Yeah.
And what he does, honestly, the guy's great in all fairness. And there's not a lot of players that you look at, and when they do well, there is. But you look at certain players in the past that have scored a lot more goals than Danny Hylton, or I just look back at that. Maybe it's because obviously that's where we've grown up, or where I've grown up to look at him. But I just think Danny Hylton, bit of a shit house.
Just love him.
Mate,
just love him.
You've got to love him, ain't you?
Jason says, I think he's proved many doubters wrong. His goals have contributed 7 points out of 9 points, so he's made a big contribution. All strikers play off confidence. Look at Jerome's performances since scoring. And it's like we said about Snodgrass at the start of the podcast. If he can contribute points like that, Danny Hylton's done exactly that. And like we said, we can't knock him. Richard said, turns out he's the best attacking midfielder at the club. Nobody saw that coming, apart from Luke Bataro a couple of years ago when he mentioned playing Hylton at 10. I don't know if that was 2 years ago, probably
maybe a bit
last
longer.
season, but
it was League One level. It was League One.
Kieran says he deserved the Chelsea start. Some very important goals recently. He's no doubt an influential player in the squad, regardless of age or ability. And you look at the reaction from other players when he scored as well, and he's put a post up on social media, and you know all the players are like commenting, saying like "Super Dan," and you just think like clearly around the dressing room and stuff. And we talk about Pelly being a big character, but clearly Hylton is a big character as well. And
of course he is. Of course he is, mate.
It's all this stuff that we as fans don't see that goes on at the training ground, which we have no idea of. But it's clearly a big reason as to why he is still here despite the injuries and stuff and the lack of first team football in the last year.
I think you've only got to look at Danny Hylton's interviews as well. He's a cheeky fucker, and let's face it.
Yeah.
You ain't got to look at his interviews and look at what he does, and I think everything about Danny Hylton we all love. I mean, certain people look at him and go, oh yeah, he's a prick, this and that, but guess what? They're not Luton fans.
Yeah.
We're Luton fans. We love him. I mean, we hate him at Oxford, didn't we? Can I tell you what, he caused some absolute problems.
Yeah, he causes everyone problems back in the day.
Well, and he's still causing problems by scoring goals and doing whatever. Do you know what I mean? So let's face it, look, we know what we're getting from Danny Hylton. Honest. That's what he is. He's an honest bloke. He puts in a shift. He knows he's not blessed with like yards of pace and whatever else. But I tell you what, the guy, I said at the beginning of the podcast, he has a brain. And his footballing brain is up there with some of the best in the Championship.
100%. Grant says, I've seen a few of the doubters actually say they were wrong, so fair play to them. Most of us were always behind Hilt. The composed way he took his goal yesterday tells you all you need to know. If he's fit enough, I'd have him starting on Wednesday. Rocket says, I think I'd put him on for the final 30. Premier League defenders will find it difficult to handle him, and he could force an error.
Yeah.
James says he's a natural finisher, was always going to score if he was given minutes. Playing just behind the top 2 or 3 means it's much easier for him to find space as well. As for the Chelsea game, whatever suits our system, but Super Dan scoring a win against Chelsea would be the best moment of my life. Whatever happens, Forza Danny Hylton. Let's be honest, if Danny Hylton scores the winner on Wednesday night and sends Luton into the FA Cup quarterfinals.
Honestly, I hope he gets naked and gets like an 8-match ban or something. Honestly, that's what he deserves. Not an 8-match ban, obviously, but he deserves to be noticed. But do you know what? I was saying back about Danny Hylton being a great finisher, right? I had a conversation with my uncle and his mate on Saturday when I went back from the game. And obviously bring up James Collins now as well. We love James Collins, obviously great off the ball, work rate, and scored some great goals for us.
Yeah.
But we said, is he a better finisher, Danny Hylton, than James Collins? Realistically.
I don't know.
That's what I'd like to know.
No,
is he though?
Is that a question to put to producer Jacob?
Shall we put it up there? Is Danny Hylton a better finisher? Realistically.
Well, than what James Collins was.
James Collins, basically all love for James Collins as well, but there's nothing against Collins, or we still love him. But is Danny Hylton a better finisher? That's what we need to know.
Should we get into some Instagram questions to finish off? Let's do a few minutes on them. A few good ones. Let's start with John. How many points from the next 3 league games? Borough away, Coventry away, QPR home.
9.
9 would be brilliant. Don't want to be depressing. Do you take 4? Do you take 4 points from them 3?
I'll be honest. Personally, I'd take
5.
I'll take a point at Borough. I'll be honest, I want to beat Coventry away. I want to beat QPR, so I'm going for 7.
Take 7. Ash says Chelsea score predictions.
1-0 Luton.
I'm going to go 1-0 Luton as well. Inside Luton says, will that Carabao Cup final performance affect Chelsea's performance on Wednesday?
Nah.
I did speak about this at work as well today, and Chelsea made, 6 subs, I think. And at the end of the day, they're elite level athletes.
I'll tell you what, right?
If an extra 30 minutes is going to affect their game.
Exactly. I'm not being funny as well. All right. Will the cup final affect their performance? They will say yes if they lose. If they win, they'll say no. So absolutely not. And if we beat them and they complain about it, say, we're fatigued, this and that, then they can go fuck themselves. That's bullshit. It's true. Sorry, excuse my language.
Love it. Gary says, how many points do you think the Hatters will get at the end of the season? Kind of already touched on that. I think hopefully 78 and we're in the playoffs. That'd be brilliant.
Let's go 75 plus. At least we can say we've given it a good try. That's the thing.
Mike says, if we do get playoffs, can we win them?
Why not? It's a game at a time, isn't it?
The way I look at the playoffs, and I know I mentioned it earlier about having like that home leg first, because I think if we do get playoffs, it'll be 6th place.
I'd rather do away leg first, personally.
Yeah, but I do think you look at the year we snuck into the playoffs in the conference, and Wrexham had like gone on some mad run, and they were very unlucky not to get Autos that year, and we somehow like snuck in, and I think there was nearly like 30 points separating Wrexham and Luton, and we had them at home, and we went in that 2-0 lead back to their place. I think Pilkinson with that penalty made it 3-0 in aggregate, and then they made it 3-2, but we hung on. And you just look at that and you think that year, the gap between the two teams was so big, but it was all irrelevant on that midweek first leg at Kenilworth Road. And you just think, who's in the top 3 now?
But also, didn't we go to Wrexham first leg one year and win 3-0?
3-0, yeah. Yeah, which was brilliant, obviously, as well. But you look at the championship table right now, as it stands, if the season was to finish right now, we'd play Huddersfield. And you think, imagine we had Huddersfield come in to Kenilworth Road on a midweek game, packed out, and just think like how difficult. Like Huddersfield won't want to play that game. Huddersfield came to us early in the season and played for a point. Like,
I'll be honest, I wouldn't want to play Huddersfield as well either. Do you know why? Because I think I've said to you before, I don't rate Huddersfield, and I've always said they will never finish. Sorry. Up until November or December time, I said they will never finish in the playoffs, Huddersfield. And do you know what? I think I might be wrong this year.
They're still grinding results, aren't they?
West Brom, but I did not rate Huddersfield. But I can't say anything now because they're doing what they need to do.
I just honestly am so excited for the rest of this season, and every single game at the moment I'm turning up, and I feel like
Give me Blackburn.
It's just excitement again, and I feel like I haven't had this excitement. Obviously, we had the couple of years off with COVID, and you know, it's for me personally, I worked for the 2 years we won promotion as well. So for me, going to games more regularly now, it's so much more exciting than it's been in a long time. I can't wait for the rest of the season. We are kind of running out of time. Thanks so much for joining me tonight, mate. It's been good fun. We got there in the end. Yeah,
I do apologise talking like that.
Yeah, and yeah, I think we just flagging it at the start of the show, weren't we? But
man, in all fairness, look, we sit here, we talk for 40 minutes. I bet you wish we didn't, because you probably get bored after like 5 minutes, because we sit here and talk sometimes and you fucking think, we talking about Sorry? Shut up. It's like, yeah, all right.
We've got a massive game against Chelsea coming up. Chance to get to the FA Cup quarter-finals. If we beat Chelsea, get Everton at home, beat them, we'll be in the semis. Sorted. FA Cup winning and playoffs. So, well, exactly, mate.
That'd be a nice
it's a big game. It's going to be a tough game, but enjoy it if you're going. If you're watching it on the telly, enjoy it as well. So, yeah, thank you so much for listening. Yeah. Get us on YouTube, Owen the Town, and get us on socials, Owen the Town as well.
1-0 Luton.
1-0 Luton. Let's hope so. Enjoy the game. Thank you so much for listening. And if we don't hear from you, see you on Wednesday, because we might do a bonus pod. We'll let you know. But if not, we'll see you next week.